Awesome. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our second episode of BG5 Live. And today we're going to take a look at your superpower. Your superpower is waiting. But before we get started, I want to introduce you to our team. Now, there's a reason that we're doing it in a team setting. And one of the reasons why we're doing it in a team setting is because that's part of what BG5 is all about. So what part of BG5 is taking a look at group and team dynamics. So the reason that we're doing this as a team is that we also like to practice applying what we teach. And so if you're not familiar with what BG5 stands for, you can take a look at episode 1, but BG5 stands for Base Group 5. So this is a small group of between 3 to 5 people, which we call either a penta. We also call it a unified group as well. And one of the things in BG5 is really understanding, how do you work best? What kind of work environment do you work best in? And I happen to work best collaboratively. I also work best in teams as well. So this is an environment where I thrive. So why not take advantage of the dynamics? So let's go ahead and introduce the team and say hello to the team. So Lavina, take it away. Say hello.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lavina Archers. I'm so glad to be here. I am really honored to be a part of this team, and it's been really wonderful to watch it thrive and change a little bit throughout the years, but still to have Karen and her mentorship and guidance in being able to understand the practical application of the human design system. It's priceless to be able to witness it experientially. So thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, great for being. Thank you so much for being here, Lavina. And I've worked very closely with Lavina, really, pretty much from the beginning of the BG5 Business Institute. So it's been really an honor and a pleasure working with you. Awesome. And Natalie, I've also been working with really from basically the start of the BG5 Business Institute as well. So Natalie, please introduce yourself.
Yeah. So I echo what Lavina just shared, and I'm really happy that we're doing the BG5 Live to show actually how this operates in team setting. And it's great. It's great being here again.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Natalie. And Natalie's going to be teaching the BG5 certification course that's coming up in May. So if you're interested in becoming a certified consultant, she will be the instructor. And Chris wrote our amazing article, which we're going to be talking about today. So Chris, go ahead and introduce yourself. Great to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. It's so great to be here too. And, as an independent person who typically works on her own, and then to be invited to be part of this team has been really cool. I'm learning a lot about myself and the team dynamics and how to be a contribution. And it's this information is so priceless. It's just been great, and I love working with all you ladies, and can't wait to see what we're going to come up with next and today. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Chris. Great to have you on board as well. So let's jump in. Now, what I want to do first is, again, for those of you who are brand new, I want to just talk really, really short and really brief about what BG5 is. So what is BG5? So many people have that question. So BG5 is the career and business application of the human design system. And when we take a look at the human design system is the science of differentiation. That is the science of how you are uniquely different. And what we do here at BG5 is we take this science of human design, this science of differentiation, and we take a look at and apply it specifically to understand your unique career design. So we take a look at how you are uniquely designed to prosper materially. And not only that, as we were talking about in the very beginning, we also tie it into the social geometry of business teams. So we take a look at how groups operate, how partnerships operate. And when we're talking about groups, it's both large groups and large businesses and large organizations, as well as smaller teams, like our smaller team here. And so in taking a look at BG5, it also helps you to understand how to communicate, how to interact, and also how to thrive in the work setting that is correct for you. Now, I do want to put a little word out there. So understand that BG5, the BG5 Business Institute, is the official source of the BG5 career and business information and the consultant certification. So just be aware that there is a lot of disinformation out there. So just be careful who you get your information from. There's a lot of people who think they know what human design is all about, but have never really formally trained. Remember, this is a science. So yes, you can learn a lot of information on your own for your personal exploration. But if you're going to use this information professionally and with clients, it's very important that you understand the foundational nuances of the science itself. So you can always check the BG5 Business Institute or the International Human Design School website to find out and check to see if your human design analyst or your BG5 consultant has been properly trained and certified. All right, so I just wanted to put that little note there. All right, so let's get started with today's BG5 Live. And how we always start our BG5 Live is by talking about sort of what the energy is in the background. Like what kind of is the frequency, the background. And today we have a quality 1 day. Now, what does that mean? What does a quality 1 day mean? So there are 6 different qualities. And the first quality, and today kind of resonates with that first quality, is about foundational detail. So it's really about getting to the bottom of things. And it happens to have a trait theme. And so one of the things we take a look at in BG5, like I said, we take a look at your unique career design. So if you happen to be born today, you may have a trait theme as your life work theme as well. So what trait 3 is all about, it's about ordering. It's about synthesis. I love this little picture here because it's sort of like this sort of chaos and confusion, this sort of mess. And if you're patient, if you wait, it starts to untangle. It starts to untangle more until you see this beautiful symmetry, this beautiful synthesis of what it's all about. And that's kind of what BG5 and human design is all about as well. Not only that, trait 3 happens to be one of the large business traits as well. And it's the most creative. It's the most mutative. It is what brings change. But with change comes difficulties. So there can be difficulty at the beginning. So just to talk a little bit more about this trait theme, and specifically the trait 3 with this first quality, again, taking a look at the foundational detail. So as I go through this, I just want you to just pause for a moment and kind of think about where this may be showing up in your own life today. So difficulties that can only be overcome when all pertinent factors have been analyzed. This is about the understanding that confusion is natural and it must always exist before clarity can be achieved. So if you happen to be experiencing right now, a bit of confusion, not knowing, what direction to go or what to choose, that's one of the things we're going to be talking about today. So understand that confusion is natural. So you need to have patience. We're going to be talking about your superhero power is waiting, and part of it is waiting for that confusion to subside. So understand that confusion is natural and must always exist before clarity can be achieved. And it's this innate knowing that order will emerge from the confusion. Now, it can also be on the other side, this reliance on intellect at the expense of intuition that can lead to unnecessary frustration. So you're locked in confusion, and because you're so confused, you're not trusting your intuition, you're not trusting yourself, and therefore it can lead to a lot of unnecessary frustration. And also the inability to know that order will emerge and the drive to find this knowing elsewhere. So again, it's not having that patience, not waiting for, this foundational synthesis of ordering to take place and jumping ahead. And again, it leads to a lot of unnecessary frustration and a lot of a lot of unnecessary effort and wasting time and wasting energy. So this is sort of the theme for today. So I wanted to ask, and I'm going to have my team members share as well, sort of what what you see in taking a look at sort of the theme that we have today. So I'll start with Lavina.
Oh, this morning, it was so interesting. I had a client and she is a first line or first quality profile per her public role. And this was our topic because of the transits and the ability to really get to the bottom of things, this inability to know that order will emerge and a drive to find the knowing elsewhere, like this inability to wait and be patient. Like a lot of that dialogue is about being able to be patient and trusting that the knowing will come, the ordering will come. It all happens in right timing, and it has to happen through the response that is there from this person, whoever it is that we're talking to. They need to have their own innate knowing come from within, not from without. And the thing is that oftentimes we're conditioned to think that it's somewhere, the truth is somewhere outside of ourselves instead of going inward. And that's the big lesson with anything to do with this strength that we have here.
Yep. Absolutely. And Natalie, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I really like that example of Lavina. Yeah.
Beautiful. And Chris, how about for you? Oh, looks like you're muted. There you go.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I know this one well. I do have trait 3, but I also have the 21 and in the first line and third line, and it's wanting to control this. And I actually just had a session this morning with an amazing healer who does a lot of sound bridging, and so she uses frequencies to bring people into alignment. And one of the things that really came up for me today was this notion of control. And this will circle back to waiting as well, but so many people want to have control, and that knot, at the top of this little image is exactly what I saw in the session. And then the unwinding of that in the nervous system and the ability to relax and really receive the impulses from everywhere around us, instead of trying to control and get enmeshed and in everybody else's business. And so either all wrapped up in your own crap, or my own crap, I'll speak for myself, inside, or getting in other people's stuff and trying to control everything, and really deeply relaxing at the molecular level so that we can receive that information. And this is such a perfect, it's exactly what I saw today. In the healing session was amazing. So yeah, it's potent.
Yes. And this particular trait is incredibly potent. It's incredibly powerful. It is very mutative and it's very individual. So I don't know if any of you journal, but one of the things that I would recommend, especially as we go through these different qualities and these different traits, is if you take a look at this. One of the things that I do is I journal each day and I take a look at what the trait is. I take a look at what the quality is. And what's amazing is that I start to see and recognize these things, not only in my own life, but I can also see them in the news. I can see them, in life in general. So it's really fascinating how all this comes into play. So this is really what we're talking about today, is that foundational detail. Yes, Chris.
Yeah. So which trait where do you find it? Is it in the conscious sun? Which trait is the trait of the day? So we can
Yes, exactly. So where you find that, if you take, you know what? We'll do that next week, and I'll show you actually where to find it. But it is part of what we call the core essence, and this is the conscious core essence. And in a sense, this is the conscious core essence of the day. And what we'll do next week is we'll take a look at, okay, that's really cool. And if I want to journal about it, where do I find all of it? Because we're just doing, today. So we'll talk more about that next week. Great question, Chris. All right. Wonderful. So with this foundational detail, with this ordering, with this synthesis, again, the theme here is that confusion is natural, and it must always exist before clarity can be achieved. So there is an element of this necessity to wait, before making decisions, before moving forward. Because if you, again, the reliance on intellect at the expense of intuition, again, one of the things we're going to talk about today also is sort of how you trust that intuition, or that internal knowing that helps you really in your decision-making strategy. And that's one of the big things that we talk about in BG5 as well, is how do you make the correct decisions for you at the right time. So before we jump into that, I wanted to have Chris just explain to us a little bit about her inspiration for the article. Now, I hope many of you have had the opportunity to read her article. If you haven't, you can go to our website and go to the blogs, and you'll see Your Superhero Power is Waiting. And so I was talking with Chris about this earlier when she was creating this particular article. And so I just wanted her to share a little bit about what her inspiration was in putting together this particular article and how it relates to our superhero powers. So Chris.
Yeah. Thanks, Karen. So I was doing a workshop with a friend of mine around marketing, and one of the participants, who is a builder type, was saying, "Oh, how do I market myself? Well, I have to wait to be invited." And I went, "Oh, wait a minute. Okay, number one, you got that all like advisors need to wait to be invited, right?" So there was a dynamic there that I thought, how did she miss that piece? And then I've been thinking a lot about this, because over and over and over again, and you may have felt this as well, whether you're a consultant or trained, or you're just learning about human design for the first time, is you'll see that just about every strategy asks us to wait in some way, right? For every single one of the different types, we are asked to wait in some way. And most of us are like, "Oh, hell no. I want to keep going. I want to move. I don't want to wait." What do you mean I have to wait? I want to create things. We're supposed to create things. We're supposed to get out there and do things and make stuff happen. And definitely in the US, we have that mentality, and there's like, go, go, go. And if you're not going, you're lazy, or you're ignorant. You don't know what you're doing. Maybe you're not good enough. That's fear. Like, there's all of these constructs that are put around our being and who we really are when we wait. And there's a fear of missing out. I mean, there's just so much that comes in. So that ball of tangled up energy that we were looking at just a moment ago is kind of what happens. People get frustrated, they get angry, they feel bitter, they feel disillusioned and disappointed. And because they're not waiting. And the way that I see it, because I see things in a visual way, just like I was describing earlier about the nervous system, is that when I close my eyes and I see the different designs and I see the way the types interact with one another and interact with the matrix that is the universe that we live in and all the different dimensions, there is this beautiful interplay. Like, we have it in our mind, and this is where the mind comes in and overrides the intuition. The intuition listens to what is coming from outside, and the nudges and the direction. And when we have our mind get in the way, it's like we override the supersuit, we override our vehicle, and we try to smash it into doing what we want it to do. And then we can't understand why we're sick and stressed and frustrated and all of these things. And so when I see that when we wait in the unique way that each one of us is designed to wait, what happens is that the nervous system relaxes and our being relaxes and our purpose is naturally expressed. And it's so beautiful. And yet, when I was thinking about the super suits, it's sort of like, yeah, but we're always looking at somebody else's suit going, well, I like her suit better. His suit has more bells and whistles, or I would like that kind of suit, instead of saying, what do I have that's so cool? And I can't even see it because I can't really see the whole thing. Right. And so when we start to really see the design as our unique supersuit, what happens is that we get to interplay and work with it and play with it and understand the beauty and capacity that it holds when it waits to be initiated. And as I say at the end of the article, when we go out there and we're like, oh, look at my suit, I'm going to just make stuff happen with it, that's usually when we become evil and either manipulate others consciously or unconsciously, or we sabotage ourselves and then we try to blame everybody else. And so it's this really interesting dynamic. And so I like to have fun with my metaphors. And when I just The Incredibles, I love all their little super suits. And so that's the inspiration for the article. Yeah.
I love that. And I love I love your whole process. And I love the analogy of the super suit.
Yeah.
Because it really is, we have a little video clip from The Incredibles in the article.
Yes.
And each of the super suits is very unique.
Yeah.
And each of the super suits is unique to their own powers.
Yes.
And so you have your own unique superhero powers. You have your own unique super suit. And part of what BG5 is all about, and if you take a look at it, it's kind of like what their gifts are, what their specialty is. For you, it's your career design, what you're here to do, how you're here to fulfill your purpose. You're not here to fulfill your purpose, by going to a job each day and just making money to get by. It really is something that, that you love, something that inspires you, that you can also then make money as well.
Yeah.
And so it's really understanding, how does your super suit operate? Yeah. And so what we're going to take a look at here in just a moment, as Chris was talking about waiting, it's going to sound very simple. And many of you who have, studied a lot of human design, it's going to like, oh, I know that already. But this is really the key to unlocking your entire design. If you don't do this, none of the other stuff that you know about your design even matters, because this is really the key. So when we talk about your superhero power is waiting, it's sort of a play on words, because your superhero powers are waiting for you to really discover and tap into and use. And your superhero power is also activated through waiting, just like Chris was talking about. So anything, Lavina or Natalie, that you would like to add before we dive into sort of the different types of weighting depending on your type of supersuit?
Oh, just the cleverness of the superhero powers waiting the play on words. I love that. That was really creative and inspiring to be able to recognize how this could be transmitted to a lot more people if they could just get this one simple key. So thanks for the article.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it really is. So we'll look at the different career types just now, but learning this and experiencing it really makes you well, it's just amazing how it all unfolds once you do wait in your own proper way. Yeah.
Exactly. So what we are taking a look at is this is the foundation. Remember, it's a quality one day, this the foundational detail. This is the foundational detail that unlocks everything. And again, it's very simple, but just because it's simple doesn't necessarily mean it's easy. So let's take a look at your superhero power of waiting. The first career type that we're going to take a look at are the innovators. If you're familiar with human design, those are our manifestors. And so oftentimes there's this misconception that innovators or manifestors can just do what they want whenever they want to do it. But there is an element of waiting that's very, very important for the innovators. So if you happen to be an innovator, now if you're not sure what your career type is, we have a free report so that you can get the free report, and I'll have Lavina put that link in the chat here, and then we'll also have it below the recording as well if you're listening to this via recording. So if you're not sure what career type you are, you can go ahead and get one of the free reports. So if you are an innovator, there still is a need to wait. And it's this waiting to be moved into action. So it's not just about, okay, I'm just going to do whatever I want. It's being moved into action in the correct way. So there's 3 potential ways that an innovator can be moved into action. The first way is by being moved into action from a place of emotional clarity. So again, not only do you have to wait to be moved into action, you have to wait for clarity. So once you wait for clarity and inform people before taking action, that's where you get your superhero powers. So even as an innovator, there's this element of waiting. Now, it may be that you wait to be moved into action from your instinctive knowing. So you know in the moment what is correct to act upon. Or the third way is waiting to be moved into action through your willful determination. Like what is, your will is what moves you forward, but you're waiting to be moved into action from your will. So again, what often happens is we get into our head, we try to intellectualize things, and we don't trust our body, we don't trust our instincts. Instead, and that leads to a lot of frustration, or for innovators in particular, it leads to a lot of anger. Anything, Lavina or Chris or Natalie, that you would like to add about the innovators?
I got to witness an innovator in action a couple weekends ago, and it was really interesting to see in this group of people how just following that initiatory lead could calm the nervous system of everybody, because this is their job and their role. So it lets us all off the hook when we can just allow that person is the one that is going to impact and initiate us get us moving in the right direction. And now all of us can play our roles if that one person is doing their job. So it's a really important task that these innovators have to play. I don't envy them.
Yeah, exactly. When I first started studying human design in BG5, a lot of people go, "Oh, I wish I was an innovator. I wish I was a manifester." It's not an easy thing to be an innovator. There's a lot of rejection if you take a look at, you're the one that has to initiate and move things into action, and you have to initiate and move things into action in the correct timing. And most innovators are not doing it in the correct timing because they are not waiting. They're not waiting to be moved into action from emotional clarity, or waiting to be moved into action through their instinctive knowing, or waiting to be moved into action through their willful determination. All right, so those are the innovators. So waiting. What about the builders? Now, there are two types of builders. There's the classic builder and there is the express builder. This is the generator and the manifesting generator, and they both operate in the same way. Now, this is 70% of the population. If we take a look at the innovators, that's only 8% of the population. 70% of the population are builders, either express builders or classic builders. And our job, I happen to be a classic builder, is to wait to respond. Now, when people first hear that, and when I first heard that myself, I went, oh, well, I have to wait. It's not about going out and making things happen, just like Chris was saying. It really is about waiting for things to come to you. And when you wait for things to come to you, because you naturally draw people in, you naturally draw opportunities and situations to you, then you can respond. Then you can respond with a yes, or a no, or maybe it's a and a is a no for now, or you may need to be asked in a different way. So again, this also gives you the right timing. So anytime that you are a builder and you're trying to force or make things happen, just like we took a look at in the first slide, if you are not waiting, it's going to lead to a lot of frustration. So Lavina, it looks like we lost Lavina there. Is Lavina still here?
Maybe she.
Oh, there she is.
All right.
Yeah. Anything, Chris and Natalie are also builders as well. So anything, Chris or Natalie, that you would like to add as far as the builder goes?
Well, right, that frustration of I got to push. I want to push and make something happen before I'm really queued up for it. Really have waited for that correct thing to respond to. And I wrote another article about baseball and how we kind of interact with one another, and that it's sort of like for the batter and balls are coming at us all the time and we're just smacking everything thinking that's the one just because it comes into our field. That it's that discernment and that really getting clear. And so again, it's just huge. This piece, right decision at the right time changes the whole game. So
yep, exactly. And with the builders, there's two ways. There's the wait to respond and then follow your gut. So again, it really is turning in, feeling your body knowledge, if you will. So waiting to respond and following your gut, or waiting to respond and waiting for clarity. So again, in either way, when you are a builder, there is waiting involved. Waiting to respond and following your gut, or waiting to respond and waiting for clarity. Anything, Natalie, you would like to add?
Yeah, so what I find interesting as well is that you'll never know what life will bring you. So you may get caught up in things you think you want, or where you're headed, or your 5-year plan or whatever. But then life brings you something totally different and unexpected, and you'll get on your way. And just experiencing again, I've been through this process, like, oh my gosh, I need to initiate to find clients or whatever. But, and then suddenly something else happens, which you could never have envisioned, but brings you, a real nice path to follow. Look where I'm now teaching the certification course in May. So I have never thought this 3 years ago when I started out, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where the magic is. And again, this is where you truly access your superhero powers. Anything, Lavina, that you would like to add about the builder?
it is such a conditioning force that the builder thinks that they have to do it all by themselves and all now. And if not, then there's something quote unquote wrong. And so just to be able to sink into this one truth, waiting for a response to come from within and live you, that is the true power of what you guys can do, to have that inform your decision-making strategy so that you can do the things that are going to naturally lead you to satisfaction. That is the sweetest thing anyone could ask for, using your energy up in a way that, what is that quote, Karen, that you shared from that guy? At the end of my life, I want to be used up.
Yes.
That guy.
Yeah.
You know, just to be able to use all of your energy doing what you love and loving what you do. I just love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So that is for any of you who are builders. And again, that's 70% of the population, so it's probably quite a few of you. And then we have our advisors, and Lavina is an advisor. So advisors, they need to wait to be recognized and invited. And I'm going to actually have Lavina say more about this since she is an advisor.
Oh my God. The biggest thing I would like to impart to any advisor who might be listening is that it has to be a specific, unique invitation that lights you up inside. Because for so many years, we are conditioned to think that we have to belong and be a part of the builder world. And so we attempt to generate or manifest, to create the recognition outside of ourselves that is not necessarily our innate inherent intelligence. So just to wait and be patient and allow life to come to you and ask of you only what it needs from you, not trying to overreach and do too much, because that leads you to exhaustion and burnout like nothing else, faster than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really, really important for advisors to wait and wait to be recognized and invited, and being able to hear when you're recognized or invited. I work with a lot of advisors who are getting recognized all the time, but as soon as they get recognized, they go, oh, no, that's nothing. And they brush off that recognition. They brush off the recognition, so really learning to hear the recognition and invitation. I know a lot of advisors get very panicked, but with like, what do I do? How do I promote myself if I have to wait? And I say this in my classes as well. It's not about sitting on the couch eating bonbons waiting for the phone to ring. It is about being out in life. And when you're out in life and you're doing what you do naturally, you will naturally get recognized. You will naturally be invited. And oftentimes you have to, remove all the static from, across your ears to be able to really hear where you're truly being recognized and where you're being truly invited. And then you need to decide, even though you're recognized and invited doesn't necessarily mean it's correct. Then you may need to wait for clarity, or then you may need to trust your instinctive knowing, or then you may need to follow your willful determination, or you may need to listen to what you say. So you may need to talk to others to get not to get feedback, but just so that you can hear what you have to say. All right. So again, just because you're recognized or invited doesn't necessarily mean it's correct, but it is the first part of your decision-making strategy. Anything else, Chris or Natalie, you would like to add?
I just think of it, I talk with my advisor clients a lot, especially in the marketing realm, about lighthouse marketing and being a lighthouse. And what you just said, Lavina, like, I got it again. It's like you're shining your light and being recognized, but you're waiting for certain ships who recognize your light. And not every ship is going to come into your port. Not every ship needs that. And so you don't run up and down the shore saying, look at me, look at me, look at me, because that would be ridiculous and sucks your energy. So it's about staying there. But when someone recognizes the light that you shine, it matches, and then you get to really be everything that you have, and you get to offer everything you have, and then recognize that they may move on and you did your job. And there's so much more we could say about that. We'll do a whole nother article and talk on just advisors and marketing. But yeah, so that's what I would say, add to that.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Very cool. All right. And then let's take a look at the final career type. And the final career type is our evaluators. So, our evaluators really need to practice waiting because they have to wait to be initiated and then they have to wait a 28-day cycle before making a decision. And so, evaluators, there's only 1% of the population who are our evaluators. And I was just looking to see Connor, if Connor happened to be here, but it looks like Connor is not here today because I was going to have her share a little bit about the evaluator and this waiting to be initiated and waiting a 28 cycle. But I know, Natalie, you have quite a few evaluators in your foundation course right now. So I was wondering if you would like to speak to that.
Yes, I did actually. In my last class, there were 3 evaluators, and evaluators are only 1% of the population. So this was extremely interesting and delightful, and actually, I felt really honored that they were there. So yeah, wait to be initiated. I also initiated a study group for the evaluators in BG5, and they said when they are on their own, so working solo or being at home, they do not have any energy to be initiated or to scan, as they say it. That's what Connor actually shared. So it has to come from somewhere out there in the field for them to be initiated, the energy or a person actually. So that's the initiation, and then wait a 28-day cycle. And yeah, Connor shared it beautifully. She just puts the what did she say? She puts the decision or the thing that she is pondering on out there in the energy cloud and just waits, and then all of a sudden she will wake up and bling. She will get clarity. It will come down again, and she will get clarity on what she needs to or which direction to go. And actually, as they feel different throughout the month, being hooked up with energy, as we had talked about at the beginning, they will reflect and discuss with others, but also to hear themselves start to get more clarity around their decision. And sometimes it is 1 month cycle, but there's also sometimes several cycles or a year cycle to get to that point of clarity for them.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Natalie. Anything, Chris or Lavina, that you would like to add? All right. So, again, this is the foundation of everything. And you can see that in each of these different career types, there is an element of waiting that is necessary that allows you to truly access your superhero powers. So your superhero power is waiting. It's waiting to be initiated. It's waiting to be seen, as well as your superhero power is waiting. So what activates your superhero power is waiting. All right. Well, that is our BG5 Live for this week. I also wanted to introduce you to also the BG5 Foundation course. Remember, our theme is foundation here, and what we just took a look at is part of what we really dive into and study in the BG5 Foundation course. Really getting to the root of what is your career design, what is your super suit, what are your super hero powers, if you will, and how do you unlock them. So if you want to get a feel for what the BG5 Foundation course is all about, we have a special invitation for you here. If you go to bg5businessinstitute.com/free trial, you can be our guest for the very first class of the BG5 Foundation course, so you can attend the first class for free. And for those of you who may be listening to this later on, when you're not listening to it live, just so you know, the BG5 Foundation courses start 3 times a year. They start in May, September, and January. So we are headed into May here in the next month. So if you want to dive deeper into what BG5 is all about, what your super suit is all about, I invite you to come and attend the first class free. I would love to have you on board. I'm going to be teaching the BG5 foundation course. I don't often teach it. And so this is going to be really a treat for me to teach the foundation course. I usually teach the more advanced courses. So I would love to invite you to sign up and become a part of the BG5 foundation course. And if you want to just try it out and see if it's correct for you, then I invite you to join us for this free class. All right. So I just wanted to see if there's any questions before we wrap everything up.
Yeah, we have a question from the Facebook group, Karen, if you have the energy to respond
Sure.
to it. It's she's asking, Jackie is asking more specific info for self-projected advisors.
So one of the pieces is, of course, in the foundation course, we go through all of the different career types. And sometimes we think, oh, I just want to know about my career type. But it is also important to know about the other career types, especially in career and business, because you're going to be dealing with all the different types. So the BG5 foundation course is one place. Again, we have full reports as well. And Lavina, is there anything else that you would like to add as far as that specifically?
Well, and if Jackie, when you were listening earlier to Karen talk about the advisors specifically, she was speaking about having the advisor hear themselves speak, and that's really the key for you. So if you would post your specific chart, we could take a look and help you recognize your own voice of authority if you'd like.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so that's one of the things that we'll start to integrate as we go through in the BG5 Live is also some of your specific questions and kind of taking a look at individual designs as well. But for today, I think, is there any other questions? Let's wrap things up. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you. It has been an amazing journey so far in our second episode. So thank you all for joining us. And what I'd like to do is just have each of our team sign off, and then we'll wrap up for today. So let's start with Natalie.
All right, so thank you for being here, and looking forward to see those of you who have foundation, either BG5 or human design, in a certification course. And yes, I can recommend to start studying with Karen. That's the treat for this round.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Natalie, and Chris.
Thanks for showing up, everybody. Really appreciate it. And I have an open invitation. If there's questions or articles or things that you would like us to cover, please email us, put it in the Facebook group, whatever. We'd love the inspiration and the dialogue around it. So thanks for coming.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris and Lavina.
Yeah, I'm really grateful to be here, a part of all of this. Thank you so much for having us share with you. And again, I echo what Chris is saying to reiterate, please do let us know if there's anything that you would like us to cover, because we are open to your feedback.
Yes. And again, thanks for being a part of our BG5 Live. And again, we're excited for this unfolding. And what we are doing right now is we're building that foundation. And so as we go and as we grow, we'll be able to integrate more and more. So have a fabulous day, and remember to wait. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day and a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.